A little quickie today on something I'm borrowing for work to see if I can fix it. It's a Canon model MP11DX adding machine. This is a currently available adding machine. Canon still makes it, and they've been making it since at least 2006, possibly earlier. So Canon's been making this for at least 13 years. That's really impressive. The one they sell today is called the MP11DX2. It looks absolutely identical. I have no idea if there's any difference in functionality or anything else. But this belongs to my work. I found it in a cabinet, unused. All of our insurance brokers and front desk staff, they all have adding machines. They all have Sharp adding machines. They have the Sharp EL1801V, and then this is sort of an odd duck sitting by itself in a cabinet unused. Well, I haven't had one in my office, and I decided I would make use of this one in my office because I do have to make use of a calculator sometimes, and I would much rather have something hardware-based just sitting ready for action than having to open up the Windows calculator and deal with that. Because obviously a real calculator is not going to be as cumbersome as a calculator on your computer. So I got this plugged it in, turned it on, and it seemed to work just fine. Until I realized the problem. The power switch is slightly mucked up. Press this button here, and it switches to the date, and it also prints out. The printer ribbon is worn out. When it prints short messages, short lines, it's okay, but when it prints longer stuff, it really starts fading. So the power switch is messed up. What's wrong is it's in the on mode right now, and the printer should be off, but the printer is definitely working, and it shouldn't be. If I turn it to the print mode, it's just the same. Furthermore, if I turn the device off, it stays on. So that power switch is not working well. I would almost wonder if it's dirty, but the fact that it stays turned on when it's off seems to be the opposite of dirty. So either there's something gunked up that's making it keep an electrical connection, or the switch has completely gone out of alignment or something. I don't know, but I figure, you know, I borrowed this from work just to see if I can get it working right and kill two birds at once. Get to fix a piece of equipment, and also that's literally my job at work, is to fix tech stuff, fix problems with our computers and printers and other technology. So let's see what I can do. The first thing I'm going to try doing is I have my contact cleaner here. I'm just going to give it a liberal spray into that switch, and I'm going to move the switch back and forth really rapidly to work it through, and we'll see if that changes anything. I'm going to just take this and spray a whole bunch right in the little crease here, and then I'm going to work the switch back and forth. This will be a little bit messy, but what's nice about this stuff is it evaporates very quickly, and it's kind of weird if you spray it on yourself. As it evaporates, it feels super cold because that's just how it works when stuff evaporates. It feels really cold because it's evaporating off your skin. So it's kind of funny, but I'm going to give this... Oh, that might have worked. It just turned off. Either that or I broke it. Oop. Okay. It's not turning off. Turned off for a little bit, and that didn't really do anything. Also, if you press down on the switch, it turns off. And if you put it in the simple on mode and press down, oops, it does make the printer turn off. Let go, and the printer turns back on. So I'll see if I can disassemble this thing and take a look at the switch internally. The unit disassembled, a little bit of an ordeal. There were 5 screws to remove on the back panel, and in order to get the back cover fully off, you have to unscrew 2 more screws through the printer access hole to detach the printer from the back panel. So the printer is just hanging here. We can see the vacuum fluorescent display. It was made by Futaba. There's your microcontroller. It's a secret, but interesting construction here. You can see it's on some sort of module that was soldered onto, surface mount soldered onto the board instead of the chip just being a part of the board itself. Maybe this made it easy for revisions to the firmware or software, whatever you want to call it, without having to redesign the whole motherboard. Maybe. There's a date code 0639, and here is the definitive date of manufacture, November 12th, 2006. There's the transformer for the power supply. It plugs in right there, so we've got a beefy linear power supply powering this thing. The only thing tethering the back door now is the wires from the lithium clock battery. And yeah, so what I'm going to try to do now is unscrew these screws. Look like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, at least 14 screws. See if I can carefully lift this back panel up, minding the printer and the vacuum fluorescent display, so I can gain access to the switch and see what's going on under there. Well, there's your problem. Yuck! Look at the gunk that's under this. This thing has had something spilled in it, or food particles or something. But that's the, whoops, you can't even see. That's the power switch contact right there, and yep, there's some little grunge on it that I could believe would cause an erroneous conductive path to be formed. And look at this rubber mat for the switches. That is gross. Yeah, it totally looks like food particles and stuff. Yuck. There's a look at the VFD display there. Very nice. You can see the cathode filaments. Very, very cool. There's your fuse. And under that, just all your switch contacts. Well, I'm going to use my contact cleaner combined with a Q-tip to, I'm just going to go ahead and scrub all these contacts clean. Although the rest of them don't look bad, it's just this one that looks bad, which is good, because that gives me a good feeling that if I clean this up, this thing's going to be able to work properly again. But let's give it a shot. Oh, I'm also going to clean these little rollers that are on the switches. These must be what make the actual electrical contact. Very, very unique design. I haven't seen this in something before. It just goes to show probably why these adding machines are so durable and so long-lived. So yeah, I'm going to give these a clean too, since they're kind of cruddy. If I owned this machine, I would take all these buttons out, just lift them all out and put them in the sink and give them a scrubbing, but I don't own this, so I'm not going to go that far. I may clean that grunge off of that lever there for the add button. It's kind of gross. What I will do as well is I'll just give this a rinse, get all this crud off it, and then dry that up, and then that'll be ready to go. But yeah, I have hope for this thing being able to function perfectly again, but we'll see. Alright, so we're mostly put back together. I don't have the printer screwed down yet, but that's okay. So I'm going to plug this thing in, and hopefully what we find is that it doesn't work because the switch is in the off position right now, and then hopefully when I switch it to the on position it will work and the printer will be disabled until I flip the switch to the print position. But let's find out. Alright, it's plugged in, it's not turned on. Let's turn it on, hope it don't explode. Hell yeah, and the printer didn't activate. Perfect! Oh, this is excellent. Flip it to the print position. Excellent! Flip it back. Perfect. Turn it off. Excellent! Excellent! This is working perfect now. And see, I started this video like maybe 45 minutes ago, maybe not even that. And yeah, you saw how easy it was. It was fairly easy to disassemble this. You just got to be a little bit careful with what you're doing. But it mostly was just, you know, common sense. And then, you know, once you get the circuit board out and you look at the contacts for the power switch, the issue was obvious. There was, you know, food particles and dried up liquid of some sort possibly on there. And I just took a Q-tip and some contact cleaner. You could also use rubbing alcohol or even water if you had nothing else. And just clean it up, clean the crud off it, and perfect. Super easy job, and it saved this equipment from having to go out of service and be junked or whatever because it wasn't behaving correctly. So awesome, super easy to do, and another piece of equipment saved. Well, there she is, all put back together and working just fine. So we'll take a brief look at this. Now, the VFD display in this, if I put in all 8s here, this display is really worn. This thing has seen a lot of hours. This is a very high hour machine. And I'm thinking a lot of those hours might have just been sitting showing the same number, because you can see the first 5 digits of the display are really dim. And the next 5 are sort of okay. There's a couple of segments here and there that are dim. And then the next 2 are really dim as well. So this has been quite a high hours unit. The ribbon is quite worn as well. Now, I found a fresh spot in it that hadn't been printed on, but the majority of the ribbon, you can actually see the red part is, I can't show you here, but the red part has like a black stripe across it. So how these printing calculators are designed is that, here's the ribbon. It's just a standard spool. This is a really standard size. My Sharp EL1197P takes the exact same ribbon. When the ribbon gets to the end, it automatically reverses and starts heading in the other direction. So the ribbon's automatically reusable. And oftentimes they are good for several passes before the print quality really starts degrading. But in the middle of this ribbon, the red part has such a dark black streak on it that you can tell this ribbon has reversed Lord knows how many times. It has seen a ton of use. So this thing could definitely use a new ribbon. If we look at the tape here, it just must be the design of these printers. When you do like a single digit, the print's pretty good, and then as you go larger, the print starts really fading, and you can see it's pretty faded here, and this is on the fresh part of the ribbon. So yeah, this thing is due for a new ribbon, but it's still perfectly legible. So another one of those things, if it was mine, I would go ahead. Well, actually, if this was mine, I probably wouldn't bother replace the ribbon just because I'm cheap. I'd get absolutely as much use as I could out of it before I replaced it. But on the whole, it is still doing its job. So yeah, it looks like this thing's gotten a ton of use. And the funny thing is, the lithium battery on the bottom, the paper tab that insulates it, that you're supposed to pull when you use the calculator for the first time, it hadn't been pulled. So the lithium battery had never been engaged. As much hours as this thing has obviously done, it never had the lithium battery engaged, so that's rather hilarious. But yeah, otherwise it's your pretty standard desktop 120 volt powered adding machine. The 2-color printer is pretty nice. So yeah, it's really, really cool, and I successfully fixed it at no cost. Just, you know, taking it apart, doing some basic cleaning, that's all it needed, and this thing is working perfectly now and ready to rumble again. So I will be taking this back to work tomorrow, and it will resume, it'll come out of retirement and resume service on my own desk, where I'll probably have it just functioning as a clock most of the time, because I think that's a really cool feature. And whenever I need a calculator, this thing is ready to go. So there you go. There's a quick little repair of a Canon MP11DX adding machine. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.